ability to pay compensation in this country is dogged by an obsession with bureaucratic foot dragging. And as somebody who I'm also on the haemophilia scale, and every so often I have to go for checkups. And I was slightly surprised to find that I've actually had blood products. I always thought I was injected with a man-made thing, um, which, which goes into the shoulder and makes me weep and vacuum. It's the most extraordinary thing, but it is very useful when it comes to any form of surgery. And one of the problems I experienced recently was that when I was having cancer surgery, the hospital didn't pay attention and just gave me stuff off the shelf, which didn't work, which meant that the wounds that I had opened up and I was in a dreadful state for a while. And part of this is the failure of our NHS to keep proper records and to follow up from one hospital to another. On two occasions I've had problems with hospital treatment where the hospital in question didn't take my word for my condition and messed around. In the first case, my appendix burst. In the second case, I was given inappropriate medicine. So I'm very sympathetic to the amendment being brought by Dame Diana Johnson to the haemophilia and contaminated blood issue in the Victims and Prisoners Bill. She's the chair of the all-party group that's investigating haemophilia. And she said the government has already accepted the moral case for compensation to be paid, so why are we dragging our feet? And the new health secretary was asked about this morning on Laura Kuenssberg's show, and said she would be she would take her time to wait for the report, which suggests she's not going to vote for the amendment. She's just going to be difficult. And thankfully, there's a large group of Conservative MPs who think this amendment is right. I also happen to think it's right. But I was appalled by the fact that the Windrush generation, the people caught in that Windrush scandal created by Theresa May, but she wasn't the one who had to take responsibility for it. That was left to Amber Rudd. These people have to fill in forms and have to plead for the compensation which is their due. It shouldn't be the victims who are coming up to the government begging for the compensation. It should be the government going out to find them and begging for them to accept the compensation because of the government's stupidity and idiocy. Bureaucracy isn't that difficult. And when we've elevated it to some sort of art form, which is incomprehensible, surely at that point it should be even better. But actually it's worse. It's bureaucracy which is there for bureaucracy's sake, to keep the bureaucrats in the life of luxury, and the people who should be given support are denied it. And I don't understand how something can be agreed and yet there's so much foot dragging and so much failure. And I don't think it's solely down to this government. This government should hang its head in shame. But frankly, I think the system has got to a point where it wouldn't matter which government was in power. It wouldn't work. We have to overhaul this system. We have to get the bureaucrats either to do their job or leave and get other bureaucrats in to take over. We need to trim down our bureaucracy, and we need to make it clear that no bureaucrat should ever be paid more than the people who actually do the work. And that should be a principle that should be etched into stone, particularly in the NHS. No bureaucrat should be paid more than a senior consultant or a senior doctor. None.